empowerment. I used to go around talking on empowerment, right? And I would always hear this, that we tried this here, but it didn't work. Have you ever tried empowerment and it just didn't work? And so I started thinking, well, why is that? Why does empowerment not work? And so here's some of my thoughts on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at John Maxwell a lot, and we're going to apply it to leadership, and we're going to look at empowerment, and we're going to look at a model that I put together a long time ago. So the law of empowerment: only secure leaders give power to others. You agree with that? John Maxwell. One of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Have you ever read that or heard of that? This is possibly the best material I've ever seen on leadership. So if I were you and you want to learn more, I would go to John Maxwell. Here's another thing. He has 20 irrefutable laws. I put them in the order I'd like to present them. I didn't think they went in the right order. I think my order is better. But the law of explosive growth. To add growth, lead followers. Now, if I had a company and you guys just do exactly what I say, then we're going to grow. And you probably feel the same way. If you have good followers, you're going to have growth, right? You're going to improve. But to multiply growth, to make things bigger than you are, then you have to lead leaders. Does that make sense? People have to take personal risk in order to make the company better. Okay, so that I thought that was a great place to start. And so the question is, how do you develop leaders? Okay, so a long time ago, I wrote this paper for Maintaining Quality and Communicating Third International Waste Management Conference in Las Vegas. So me and a friend of mine put this material together. And so I looked at, there's two different paths to empowerment. And this really came out of a sermon, because the sermon was on types of love, and there's layers of love, and you get to the very highest layer, and that's agape, a godlike love, right? So I was thinking, how my mind works, it works in a weird way. I was thinking, well, this kind of sounds like the layers it takes to get to empowerment. And that's just what was going through my head. So I started thinking about it. And the first part is, before you can empower somebody, you got to get them ready to deal with people. Okay? So before they can even become empowered, they have to deal with people, because part of empowerment is becoming a leader. Does that make sense? Okay, see if this makes sense to you. The first layer is commitment. And this is something kind of related to what I think you might have said, and this is something that's in my mind. I could not take a homeless person off the street, bring them to this classroom or Vanderbilt or Harvard, and give them an education. I could not do that. Maybe some homeless people you can, but before I can do that, it takes commitment. So you guys, you can't take somebody off the street, pay their way through college, and give them an education. You can't give somebody commitment. Does that make sense? So commitment has to be there in the form of the person before you can empower them, and has to be there in form of the company's commitment to actually empower them. And so you're saying you tried empowerment before it didn't work. Well, you can't commit. If they don't commit, then it ain't going to work. Okay, so you got to have that first. Not everybody can be empowered. You can't empower everybody. Okay, so this is law of sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. If you want to be empowered, if you want to improve, you have to give up something. If you want to get an education, you got to give up something. You got to give up money, you got to give up time, you got to give up effort. If you want to do anything, you got to give up something. It ain't going to happen without giving up something. Okay? So you're not going to empower people if people don't want to give up something. Does that make sense? Can't empower everybody. If you have thoughts, then add to them. Here's something that you close your eyes right now. Personal effort and commitment. That's all we have at the end of the day, is personal effort and commitment. Okay, the next step is, once you have commitment from them, then you can help them understand. Okay? If you're closed-minded, not committed, you'll never understand. Okay? Sensitivity comes out of understanding. Now remember, we're dealing with people first before we get into the results. So You have to understand the situation. A single mother with 3 kids has a different problem than a single person with no kids, right? If you understand that, you can become sensitive to that issue. And at work, sensitivity might mean that they have to leave during certain parts of the day because of whatever reason to go pick up their kids. They're the only one they have, the only person the kids have. If that person is valuable to them, you can't treat everybody the same. You just can't. I mean, maybe that's not. Okay, here's the law of connections. Leaders touch the heart before they ask for the hand. My sister used to say it this way: nobody cares what you have to say until they know that you care. Okay, it just doesn't matter. You can't teach somebody if you don't care. I mean, that's just it. All right, respect. Respect comes out of sensitivity. Now, understanding leading to sensitivity can also lead to disrespect. So respect is a two-edged sword, right? So if you understand that these are lazy people because they don't do anything, then you kind of have disrespect, right? But if you say, well, this person's trying as hard as they can, single mother, has 3 kids, I can understand. She's trying hard, she's showing up all the time, and so that leads to more respect, right? And so you shouldn't base your respect on their abilities. Some people just aren't able to do everything. So you shouldn't be disrespectful. You should just find something they can do. I mean, some people are mentally handicapped. Some people are physically handicapped. Physically handicapped people may not be able to run the marathon. Mentally handicapped people may not be able to do your job, the job you want them to do. And so that has nothing to do with respect. All right, people naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves, so that works both ways. If you want to show that you're worthy to be followed, then more is required of you. If you're given a lot, more is required of you. Patience comes out of respect. You don't start with patience. You take somebody, you want to empower them, and you say, have patience. Well, they have to. Patience is a part of maturity, and you don't start off with patience. So now these are just the elements you have to build on before you can get to a point where you can turn people loose on other people.